The trial captivating a nation.
They mentioned Trooper Michael Proctor, who was recently fired from Massachusetts State Police. How do you think this plays into the case?
Proctor is going to continue to be a real detriment to the prosecution.
When that lead detective is dishonorably discharged, how many DAs would at that point say, we're walking away? And with that, I'm walking away.
NBC 10 News has the latest on the retrial of Karen Read.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gene Valicenti. Court is over for the day in the Karen Read retrial. So let's recap what happened today. Back on the stand was the trooper in charge of the scene that night when the body was found. That's Sergeant Yuri Buchanan. This is his third day on the stand. Now, he might have been, I'll double check whether it's third or fourth day, but he's the principal witness for the state. And NBC 10's Katie Benoit is out there. Katie, let's begin. Sergeant Buchanan at one point is going back to these texts sent between Karen Read and Higgins, who works for the ATF, and these two are flirtatious, and these defenses suggesting that Karen Read didn't kill the victim. It was actually Higgins who killed the victim. He had motivation. Talk a little bit about that, then we'll go to the clip where they're talking about this. Brian Higgins.
Sure. Sorry, it's a little windy out here today.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan was on the stand for a third day today, and he did actually get asked some questions about Brian Higgins. There's a video of Brian Higgins going to Canton Police the morning around 1:30. So John O'Keefe's body was found later that morning, but around 1:30 to clean off some cars. And you can see him going in and out of the police department. He's talking on the phone. So Sergeant Buchanan did have to answer questions about that video, kind of what Higgins was doing. And then today on Redirect, who's also asked by Hank Brennan, looking through these text messages, the two were flirting. Did he have a motive to kill John O'Keefe? And he took the stand and he said he looked through those text messages and he didn't find a motive.
Okay. So Karen Read is texting with Higgins this the night of the murder. By the way, they were out partying together. He works for the ATF, but he's not involved in the investigation. He's a friend. And the defense is suggesting that Higgins has a motive to kill him. Let's listen to that clip where the Buchanan, the lead investigator at the scene, is talking about this.
You were asked about any evidence of Brian Higgins having a motive to murder John O'Keefe just a few minutes ago by Mr. Brennan, right?
Yes.
And you said, no, I didn't find a motive that Brian Higgins would want to murder John O'Keefe. Is that right?
That's right.
What about a motive to confront him about a girl he was interested in? Did you see that?
I believe the text messages speak for themselves. Everybody heard me read them out loud.
Yep, the text messages do, but I'm asking you. You were just asked about your opinion, whether or not there was a motive that you found for Brian Higgins to want to murder John O'Keefe. I'm asking you a different question.
Okay, that's the stuff about Higgins today. Brian Higgins, his third party. Did he have a motive to get rid of John O'Keefe? Because he was starting to fall for Karen Read, and she was reciprocating. They both thought each other were attractive, and those texts speak for themselves. All right, let's go to now the Sergeant Yuri Buchanan continues on the stand, talking about when those taillight pieces were found. This is central to the case. Taillight pieces from her car found at the scene, defense suggesting they might have been planted. Go ahead and roll the taillight clip.
This unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV, where the right taillight is, correct?
Yes.
And you'll also agree that this video was taken before any taillight material was ever found at 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes, if that's timestamp before 5:51, before we left Canton PD, then yes, taillight pieces had already been found.
So 5:35, 5:37 is before the first taillight pieces were found. Right.
I'd have to see a timestamp of when they were exactly found, but if
that...
that...
a different way. 5:37, 5:35 is before 5:45.
Yes.
All right, Katie, where was the car when they're that they're referencing? Where was it at the time they're looking at Proctor around the taillight? Where?
Sure. So the car was towed to the Canton Police Station. They had a heated garage, so they took it there to try to preserve the evidence since it was snowing and there was elements. Obviously, it was a blizzard, so they took it there. So there is some video where you can see Trooper Proctor near that damaged taillight of Karen Read's car. And that car, the SUV, arrived at the Canton Police Station a little bit before those first taillight pieces were found outside of 34 Fairview.
Okay, so car goes from the scene to the Canton PD, and that's
So
and they find and then they find the taillight pieces after in time. Is that right?
Yes, it actually was taken to Dighton first, to Karen Read's parents' house, and it was towed from Dighton to the Canton Police Station garage, where state police took over the investigation. You can see this is some Sallyport video. In the first trial, there was a lot of controversy because the video was inverted when it was shown to the jury in the first trial. So that was kind of brought up today again about the video being backwards and then the correcting a little bit as well.
Yeah. What is the explanation for why the video was inverted? By the way, we have it here. We're going to look at that with Buchanan testifying. Just hold on one second. Go ahead and play that. Buchanan talking about the inversion of the video.
At any point, did you give any items to Chief Berkowitz?
No.
At any point, did you ever see Michael Proctor hand or give an item to Chief Berkowitz?
Absolutely not.
You said Michael Proctor had a folder with him.
Yes.
Is that typical in an investigation?
Yes.
Did you ever see him place taillight or any item in that folder?
No, that would be absurd.
Okay. Talk a little bit about the inversion of the video, and then we'll let you get to work.
Sure. So the inversion of the video, Sergeant Ear Buchanan on the stand said that this wasn't the only time the video was inverted in the garage. So on previous occasions, that video also showed that it was inverted. So it was taken that way. Yeah. But when the video is backwards, it looks like people are in different places on different sides of the car. So they wouldn't be on the side of the broken taillight. Instead, they would be on the side of the taillight that's not broken in the inverted video.
We all watch videos on Instagram and TikTok, and they're backward. They're inverted. The driver's steering wheel is not where it's supposed to be, but that's the way video works sometimes. All right, just to recap, Buchanan was the lead investigator at the scene. The lead investigator for the whole case was Proctor. Proctor was fired for misbehavior and mismanagement. Higgins is a friend. He happens to work for law enforcement, the ATF. He was a friend who had was starting a flirtatious relationship with Karen Read, at least if you're to believe the text. And the state is suggesting that he had a motive to take out the victim, not Karen Read. What's coming up tomorrow? Do we know?
So Buchanan finished testifying today. Court went a little bit late till 4:10ish, but the judge asked if that was okay with the jury. They all nodded their heads and said that was okay. So he finished up today. We do know there could be 2 minor witnesses called to the stand. They have not yet been called, but cameras are not allowed in the courtroom for that. So they could be next up. And there's also, I believe, a ring expert who could be testifying sometime soon as well.
Okay, Karen Read had nothing to say on the way out of court. That's why we're not running it. There wasn't much there. NBC 10's Katie Benoit, I'll let you go. We'll see you on the news at 6, and that's where you'll find me as well. For now, I'm Gene Valicenti in the newsroom. This is our daily debrief for the Karen Read case. Thanks for joining us.
The trial captivating a nation, on the scene to keep you informed at every turn.
The defense brought up some inconsistencies with this testimony.
The lies and the dishonesty in this case is overwhelming.
With live updates and legal analysis.
Set that up for me. Why?
So the text messages between them kind of set up this argument that happened.
It's to show that they weren't always lovey-dovey.
He testified today that there was no fighting. They seemed normal. Nothing was going on.
Harry, John's dead.
NBC 10 News has the latest on the retrial of Karen Read.